everybody, I'm David and this is Melissa.
And we're doing a working lap of Australia. It's so cool. It's a bumpy ride.
The catfish.
How cool is that?
Hello everybody. So today we're going to do a budget video. I mean, everyone probably does them, but it's one thing we did look up before we came on our trip. We did look up budget videos, so I mean it's just our version of our lap. I guess the only difference between a lot of the other people, we are doing a working lap, so we obviously didn't bring as much money on the trip, but we've got quite a lot written down here, and I'll probably break it down into 5 sort of things about like what we spent our money on or getting onto the road. Yeah, so we'll sort of break it down into the money we needed that we left with, the money that cost us to get the car on the road and everything we have on the car, and then we'll go through, because we've been on the road for 6 months now, and we've done 2 jobs, we're on our 2nd job, and so we'll run down the costs of that as well.
First things
first. To actually get on the road, so everything on our car, I'll break it down into 5 separate things. So the canopy and the rooftop tent, including the sort of canopy fit out and a new mattress and topper for the rooftop tent, that all came to a total of $4,400, and that was all off Marketplace. So a lot of our stuff is off Marketplace.
Everything secondhand, basically.
Yeah. So I guess we're not super cheap compared to other ways you could do it, but we are quite cheap compared to obviously buying everything new and all that. So for our 12-volt system, which is our DC charger, solar, control box, lights, the battery, shower, UHF, inverter, the fridge, all of that stuff, including installation, was $3,700. And then we have everything in the canopy, so it's things like our stove, storage and water, tire deflators, compressors, our camp chairs, things like our max track, gazebo, all of that cost us $1,250. So our whole canopy on the back of the car, including the tent, in total cost us $9,350. So it's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's everything. Like the only things we sort of had, because obviously when we camped back home, we would just go for one night, so we would take very basic stuff. So we pretty much did a whole new setup, and the only thing we had was a chair, because we used older chairs, so you bought a new chair, and I guess like a gas bottle. Like we pretty much everything in this that we've got in the car is all new, new off Gumtree. We've got $5,300 for car costs, so that was the suspension. So suspension was $2,700, so we obviously had to do that to put all the weight in the car for starters. This also includes insurance for the year and rego for the year, so we paid them up front, so we're not having to have that in our weekly budget. And that was also including rust proofing, so that was $5,300. So the total for the entire car to get onto the road and doing what we're doing was $14,650, which is quite a lot, but
it's quite a lot, but it's not at the same time. Like, for what we've got is pretty good.
I mean, there's definitely a few different ways you could go a bit cheaper, but for living capability, for obviously living it every single day, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And you could definitely spend a whole lot more money. we left with $12,000. We ended up saving $12,000.
Yeah.
And
but this is like, we decided in April that we wanted to travel, do the trip, and then we left in the next, like, January. So
yeah, so
that's not even a year.
7 months that we came up with this idea and came up with the money. So it's pretty impressive, really.
Yeah, like we're like, okay, we're going. So after that, we just worked, saved as much money as we could, and then obviously we knew we were going to do a working lap because we couldn't save enough in that short amount of time to make it the whole way around without working. But we thought it would be fun to work anyway, so we didn't really mind.
Yeah, and this is one thing, because a lot of the videos that we watched are people who are just traveling full time, not working. And this is my piece of advice is that we worried about trying to bring too much money. Well, not too much money, but we worried about bringing up heaps of money to begin with, and in the end we should have maybe spent more money on our setup and how we wanted it, and then just worked on the road, because
it's so easy to work.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It breaks up the trip a little bit for us because we move so fast as well. So it's been good working along the way and you do make a lot of money when you work remotely.
Yeah. So we'll come back to our first job, but we will just do we still do a weekly budget, sort of. So when we first began, we were doing $600 a week. So that's just for us to, that's
another thing, because we paid the insurance and everything off before we left.
Yeah, we get the whole
We
600.
don't have any bills.
Apart from her phone bill and mine, but my phone's paid off, so mine's only cost us $10 a week, and yours costs us like $30 a week.
Yeah, it's like $130 a month or something.
Yeah, so it's basically we basically get $560 a week. That's so that's the only other bill we have to worry about. And 600's more than enough, we think. Like, we actually stayed at a lot more caravan parks than we thought, so we actually haven't free camped as much as we thought we would. I mean, because it fits our budget, so we'd rather spend, $20 a night or $30 a night to have a shower sometimes, and it fits our budget, so that doesn't matter. And we don't skimp on food.
No, we eat a lot.
We eat well, and we eat a lot.
So we spend usually about $30 a day on food.
It's pretty much like 30, really.
Yeah.
So like 30 food, 30 fuel, 30 accommodation, or wherever you're staying. But obviously there's weeks when it's more and weeks when it's less, but 600 was pretty easy for us.
We also don't do a lot where we spend money.
Yeah, we don't do those extra activities.
Yeah, we don't do the extra activities. Not because we are like, oh, we can't spend money. Some things, yes, because they're super expensive and we just can't afford that. But a lot of things, like, we see everything. Like, we do most things for free.
You can't
spend any extra money on anything, really.
Not really. And I don't think we really miss out on anything because of it. So 600 was our original budget, but as I think a lot of people have noticed, the fuel prices have went up, and especially when we started being more in remote areas, everything just got more expensive. So our budget, probably after we've worked for the first time, our budget did go up to roughly $700 a week.
Yeah.
And it just had to, because we were doing more kilometres, and then obviously fuel prices at $1 more than what we started with.
I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere for starters.
Yeah, so 700's a new budget, and then it's just the way it goes. That's why I like the idea of working when you're going around, because I mean that would completely ruin some people's budgets or overall budgets if you had to jump up an extra $100 a week.
And you just can't prepare for these things.
Exactly.
You just never know. Yeah. So that's why I also think it's a good idea to work. But I mean, a lot of people save a lot of money to come, like for years and years they save to go.
Yeah.
So it just depends up to you.
Yeah, up to how you feel, but we have thoroughly enjoyed being a working holiday.
Mhm.
So our first job, we worked in Uluru. We were gonna stay for 3 months.
Oh, I thought you were going to say what we were.
Uh,
I was like, what is he going to say? Bike repairers.
Bike repairers. And same thing. There's just a million jobs out there. We look on a Facebook group called Backpackers Australia, and that is predominantly where we've got most of our work, because you just either post that you want work, or you just look up areas that you want to work, and there's just so much work. And obviously we do things that we service bikes and hide out bikes. So obviously we've never done anything like that, but if you've got half a brain, it's pretty easy to get work, isn't it?
Yeah.
So our first job, we worked in Uluru, and we were earning roughly $1,400 a week after tax each. So we got quite a few hours there. We also were there during school holidays and Easter, so we did get public holidays, and so we did have to pay rent, which was $150 a week between us. So in that month we spent $600 on rent, and food was more expensive out there because obviously it's remote, and that's just the way it goes. So we're spending roughly $250 a week on food. So we earned about $11,000 after tax in that month, and we pretty much didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like we saved,
nothing.
there was not much to do out there. I mean, which was good, but it ended up being quite boring in the end.
Because we did originally go out there to do 3 months.
Yeah.
And then we were there for a month because it was awesome and it was such a cool experience, but
Yeah,
just in
a
the
bit
desert.
boring. So we ended up saving $9,500, or roughly about that. We're currently on our second job now. We finished work 3 months ago, and we only probably longer now.
Yeah,
we probably travelled 3 months.
Start of May.
We travelled 3 months, worked a month, travelled 2 months, and now we're going to work again for 3 months. And so this job, we are in southwest WA, in Dunsborough.
In a little town. It's really cute, actually.
It is. And we've been here for 6 weeks already. We don't work as much. We are earning about $900 a week after tax. But we do get free rent here, and food is obviously cheaper because there's, the Coles and Woolies, and we're not remote here.
Yeah.
And we're not saving as much here because there's a lot of stuff to do, so we have been doing stuff on our days off, and we also, we go and eat out and have breakfast and stuff like that instead of just trying to save our money. So at the moment, we just aim to save $1,000 a week between us, so it's pretty easy. And we'll be here for 3 months, so we'll leave with another 12 grand, I guess. On the road costs, so mishaps on the way. We've actually been quite lucky. We've done 25,000 kilometers so far, and the first problem was we had a fuel filter go, which was fine. We just got that fixed, so we didn't have spares, but we were actually only 200k out of Darwin, so we got that fixed. Services, obviously, and
you have to do quite a few. I didn't even think that how many services you have to get, because obviously back home, you only get one every 6 months.
Yeah, well, obviously not driving as much.
Yeah. So I didn't think of how obviously the more you drive, you have to get service. So that's definitely been a big cost of ours.
Yeah.
Is how many times you have to get it serviced.
Yeah, it's just an unsuspecting one, really.
Yeah.
And we actually got towed, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But out of anywhere we could have got towed, we actually broke down at the resort here on our second day.
On our second day here, the car just went.
Car just died. Alternator died. When it died, it killed the battery. And we also got it serviced when we were there, because I was literally waiting for our day off to go get it serviced, and it died the day before our day off. So we couldn't even jump it and drive it to the service station, so we just had to get it towed, which for roadside assistance they tow 20 kilometres. So if we're anywhere else, we would have had to pay for a tow, but because of here, it was under 20 kilometres, so we didn't have to pay for it. So our total servicing and mishaps, I guess, or fix-ups has cost us $2,800. Because we're working, after we worked, we did go and spend quite a bit of money.
We went a little bit crazy because
So
we had so much money.
we had so much money.
So like, we don't need all this money. What are we going to buy?
Yeah, an extra. I've got here, we spent... Oh, sorry, actually, I'll back it up. We did have to get new tyres, but we knew that the whole time.
Yeah.
So I had, before we left, we had some really old tyres on the car, but we had... The guy said about, you got another 5,000 kilometres left, so, I mean, why not use that 5,000 kilometres? So after, when we got to... We actually ended up getting to South Australia. I think we pushed it pretty far. We got new tyres and got an alignment, which was $1,200, but that was part of our original money that we left with, because we knew the whole time we had to get that. And so fast forward again to after we worked for the first time, we spent $2,600, which was on a new camera, which is what we're filming on now. We've bought quite a lot of fishing gear.
Yeah. We still haven't caught a fish.
We haven't got much to show for it. Fishing gear, snorkeling gear, and warm clothes. We didn't
I had to buy this jacket.
We didn't leave with many warm clothes, so we both actually got new jackets.
Because we got to, wasn't even like Tassie, it was like down the bottom of New South Wales.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, it's cold.
It got cold. We didn't realise, I mean, like, we knew it was going to get cold, but we didn't realise we needed them that early.
Yeah, so had to buy a few jackets.
So that's our total cost on everything so far. I don't know what just a little recap. The car, canopy and everything, $14,650. We left with $12,000. And like I said, again, that's, if you are doing a working lap, I probably wouldn't worry about taking as much money.
Yeah, I think people stress a lot about...
And I did.
He did so bad, and I was like, you need to chill. I wasn't stressed at all.
Yeah, taking a lot of money on the road. And I had this big idea of like, if we save 12 grand, we're not going to have to work for like 6 months, blah, blah, blah. After like 2 or 3 months, you're ready to work anyway. I mean, you don't want to, but you are ready to work anyway. So, I mean... I think people stress a lot about, you know, how do you do it? That it costs so much money. The way you want to live on the road. Like, we live pretty cheaply and don't have much. Yeah.
So if you want to do it like that, I wouldn't stress about money at all. Like we said, 12 grand gets you 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's like, you don't need much at all. Obviously, if you want to do it better and go with more stuff and go with the nicer setup, then it's going to cost you a lot more money. Yeah.
But it's just, I think, to take away from it how much money you can save when you're on the road. And say like this, you get free rent. I don't know, it's just so easy to save it. And we're not getting as many hours here, but if we wanted to, we could, but we're not too worried.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of jobs out there that offer 60 hours a week, no worries, with free rent, free food. Like, you can save so much money on the road. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
We have videos of our car setup. I have actually been a bit slack and haven't actually finished those videos, but I think there is a little playlist on the setup of the car. So if you are interested in seeing what we did spend the money on, or how we actually are travelling, you can check that out.
What would be the 5 things that you are so glad you bought? Like just random things.
Well, the comfy mattress.
Yeah.
So we originally didn't have. Well, I don't know. I'm not at the moment. I'm quite skinny now, but
go all out on the comfiness of the bed.
On the comfiness of the bed, because we had a foam mattress in there, but it wasn't very dense, and I kept falling through it. And I ummed and ahed about buying a new one because it cost us $300 or something.
Yeah, it was $300.
Obviously, that I would never regret that in my life, because we basically sleep on.
You
like
have to remember this is your house.
Yeah. So like that's what I was going back to before. Like instead of leaving with as much money, try not to skimp out so much on your setup because you can make lots of money on the road.
Take some games, like card games.
Oh, Monopoly Deal. Monopoly
Deal, but try and take other ones.
Monopoly Deal, it will change your life.
We honestly play games all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, we'll go back to it. Do you think our top five things? The mattress, Monopoly Deal, games, the little wooden pallet, little wooden thing we stand on when we're having a shower.
Oh,
you cannot live without that.
This was a big one because he came to me and he was like, "What are we gonna stand on in the shower?" And you know how everyone uses those kind of like mats,
the foam mats, yeah.
But the sand, like when you stand on it, the dirt just goes in anyway.
Yeah.
And I used to have one of these bath mats when I lived at home. My mum bought it years and years ago, and it was just like a bamboo bath mat.
Bamboo bath mat, yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, that's perfect. And we literally walked into Kmart right there. It was like
$20. Not even.
And it has been probably one of the best things ever.
Yeah.
For when you're showering outside.
That's number 3, the bamboo bath mat. If you don't have one of them,
that'll need change to get
your
one.
Well, that's 4. This one's 3. 4. Just a good jacket.
Yeah.
One that you're not too worried about ruining as well.
Yeah. And I reckon the pillow that my friend Irad brought us.
The little outdoor one.
Yeah.
Little outdoor pillow.
Little outdoor pillow, because we always lie our
Oh, they can go together, those two, the rug and the outdoor pillow.
Yeah. She got us that for Christmas, and honestly, we use it all the time. Because even when you're lying at the beach, some days when we are in like weird little towns, we'll just go to like the town park and we'll lie in the park.
Just read a book.
We use it all the time.
Yeah. I don't know if they're 5 essentials, but they're 5 of our favourite.
Well, that's what we use daily.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. 5 of our
daily usage.
Definite things. That'll do us for now. But if anyone has any questions, I guess ask us. That was sort of broad, but I mean, you can't really get into it without having a 10-hour long video too much.
Yeah, if you want us to do another video of where you go, maybe like a Q&A kind of video, and if you want to ask us questions about the trip and about our jobs and
maybe
stuff
about
like
jobs,
that.
just how we spend money.
Yeah.
Let us know. But we'll see you in the next video.